Spread your wings like a butterfly. Soon you'll see you too can fly. Live your life, never compromise. Love yourself, prioritize. Silver lining all occasions. Stay away from complications.
Oops, everybody, bear with me, just one moment. There we go. I'm sorry for those technical difficulties. I will clean it up in post. I pressed a wrong button. I'm Nicholas Snow, and this is Notes from Hollywood, which reports on people passionately pursuing professions in the entertainment industry. And on the surface, my guests are really much involved in the entertainment industry overall in all of the episodes of this particular show, but I find that what motivates them has nothing to do with making it in business. It's always about things that are so much deeper than that. And you might think on the surface that this episode is about music, which it is, but in reality, it's about, in my opinion, artistry, humanity, and authenticity, and how they intersect. So they proclaim it, and it's true. Founded in 2020, So Fierce Music is a new kind of music and entertainment company for artists marginalized and disadvantaged by the mainstream music industry because of gender or sexual identity. Founder and CEO Velvet Code, internationally acclaimed award-winning artist and producer, states, "I have experienced firsthand how difficult it is for an LGBTQ plus artist to be seen and heard, not only in the music industry, but in the world. It's time for change." The change is now, they continue. So Fierce Music provides artists professional direction and a proven path forward, guiding artists while providing an established platform for success, all while celebrating the diversity of their client roster and individual talents. They are perfect as they are. We are all perfect as we are, and in fact, so fierce. So I have Velvet Code coming up on the show today, and with Velvet's permission, we'll be featuring a music video called Thrive from one of his hot artists, Sofonda Cox, and she and I, we have things in common. So that's what's coming up, and you're definitely going to want to stay tuned for that. As always, I want to thank for their support of my show, DAP Health, serving Riverside County. My audience is worldwide, but DAP Health is based right here in Palm Springs, and couldn't be thriving with HIV without them. So thank you. And of course, locally, 849 Restaurant and Lounge. Wherever you are in the world, I've been authorized by Palm Springs Pride to ask you to save the date for our official Pride Week, because we're far enough along in the pandemic for us to know that something will actually happen for Palm Springs Pride, which is probably very exciting for my guest today, because many of his artists, I'm sure, would be out at all these Pride festivals performing. Locally, if you're feeling disconnected, isolated, lonely, and you want to have more connection in your life, check out the Center, cv.org. They're creating a vibrant community. I'm thrilled that the PromoHomo.TV official merch is now on Amazon, and if you send me a photo with you in the merch, I'll put it into the show with your permission. In June, I'm starting a limited episodic series on PromoHomo.TV that looks at highlights from my Living Powerfully with HIV memoir, Life Positive, A Journey to the Center of My Heart. This message isn't actually for my guest today, but I'm excited that Velvet's going to learn about this. So in the book, one of the things I write about is how I created a worldwide music video campaign to promote HIV testing and safer sex. The music video is in English, but it's subtitled in 21 languages. It's called The Power to Be Strong. I always envisioned it as a dance song, but it was produced as a ballad, and maybe there's a dance remix in my future. So a hint, hint, Velvet. Further, being the promo homo, if you're in casting, I am an actor, and you can see real acting clips from commercials and movies and TV shows are right there. For their support of my show, I really want to thank the PromoHomo.TV superstars, and I couldn't do this without them. My number of superstars has doubled in the last week, and here's more about that. I'm sure my next guest and all of their artists are used to paparazzi. If they're not being mobbed by paparazzi soon, they need to be. And we'll learn more right after this.
And I just can't get enough of your energy. I just can't get enough. You're the light in the middle of the night, and I just can't get enough. Oh, 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 oh,
Later in the show, and I'm telling you this now with Velvet's permission, we're going to have the music video from Sofonda Cox. You heard some of the song at the top of the show and saw a glimpse of Sofonda. Sofonda is Toronto's highest streaming drag recording artist of 2020, and so much more about Sofonda that we'll learn right before we play that video. But without further delay, let me welcome to the show Velvet Code. Hi, Velvet.
Hi, how are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
Great to meet you, Nicholas.
It's wonderful to meet you as well. And I'm wondering if anybody before has described your company as artistry and humanity merged with authenticity.
Not in that way, but we're receiving about 50 to 100 submissions from artists every day, and I'm constantly hearing that they want to be part of the movement, and this is what we strive for, is for this to be a movement, because LGBTQ plus artists around the world have been marginalized for way too long. I know personally, I went through my entire career being limited, and my goal is to change that.
When and where, when is important. When and where were you growing up getting into music and self-discovery?
I grew up in a small town called Burkton. It was a town of 50 until I was 19. So I was very secluded. Had a great family. But I wasn't able to be myself. Obviously, there was nobody in my high school that was out, not a single person. And Music discovery happened at an early age. My dad put me on the piano when I was 3, and I was, mesmerized by the sound of the piano, and took piano lessons, and made that a serious thing for me. And that's how I got into music, and then that continued. It stopped for a while, and I got into sports to try and cover up my identity, sexual identity, and and I'm grateful for having those experiences with sports, but it wasn't truly who I was. And then I got back into it when I came out and moved to Toronto and became part of the community.
And when did your music transition into something that you were doing professionally?
It was about 10 years ago is when I took things really serious. I'd say it was about 12 years ago is when Velvet Code was birthed, if you want to call it that. I was in New York. I lived in New York, and I actually moved there to pursue a music career and to find my identity and everything as a musician and artist. And I started working with Wendy Starland, who a few years later discovered and developed Lady Gaga, but I met her before that, and we became songwriting partners. And during that period is when I realized, who I was, and Velvet Code would be my identity. And then I was lucky enough to get on tour opening for a band called Mindless Self-Indulgence, and that sort of began the whole trend of, it allowed me to make a career out of my music.
Well, yesterday, this is for the audience, I asked my smart speaker to play your music, and I listened to your music while I was preparing the collaterals for your interview, and I'm putting all of the sources of your music, well, almost all of them. The Spotify link was a bit too long to put there, but everything else is there, and your music is very reminiscent of the music that was playing in the 80s when I was coming out. There's something really contemporary yet nostalgic about it.
And what's interesting is it's starting to become popular again. With The Weeknd, Blinded by the Light, and Blinding Lights, and then Miley Cyrus as well. The 80s sound is coming back. It's already back. So obviously we're working with a number of artists that want to be part of that movement. So we're doing quite a bit of music in that genre.
So you in your press material describe yourself as gender fluid. I was wondering if you would share a little bit about how you became aware of this. And one of the questions that came up for me, and I've interviewed lots of people around this topic, and I don't know the answer to this question, and it's probably personalized depending upon who the question is presented to, but is there a difference between gender fluid and non-binary?
I think non-binary means they just don't. I'm not non-binary, so I don't want to speak for them, but my understanding of it is that they just don't want to be tied to one or the other, or one specific gender. Gender fluid, in my opinion, and for me, is things change for me every day. There are days when I'm a jock. I put a baseball cap on. I'm watching the Maple Leaf game. I'm very masculine. There are days when I decide I want to walk down the street with heels and skirt, or put on makeup. And I think I've always struggled to exactly to pinpoint what my identity was. So then I realized that it doesn't need to be pinpointed. I'm fluid. Velvet Code as a performer was in New York, was always wearing eye makeup, and I was always dressed androgynous, so it could be androgynous. I don't think, again, it's all over the place, and that's what gender fluidity is.
Thank you for that. And as I said, the answer to that question is probably going to be different depending upon the individual that you're asking. And I love having these conversations. So thank you for that. what has been the response to the creation of So Fierce Music, which is an LGBTQ plus inclusive music label and entertainment company?
You know, I started the label because I personally was tired of sending and giving up my music rights to labels and have them do nothing. All they did basically is add me to their library. Whether that was a major label or smaller independent labels that just would sign me and not do anything. So I was spending my own money promoting myself, and I thought, well, that's just dumb. I'm just going to do it myself. So I started off creating my own label for the purpose of putting my own music out, and I was going to have a few artists. Sofonda was the first. But then I realized that very quickly that there was a big need for a label that was not going to judge you on who you are, or was not going to try and change you, and was going to support your art. You know, I always say to my artists, I'm probably more knowledgeable on what not to do than what to do. So I can tell you what you shouldn't do and where you shouldn't spend money and how you shouldn't promote something. More so than the latter. So that's where I usually start with artists when I sort of guide them into with a release. But it's been the feedback has been phenomenal. That there continues to be a need for this, and we're trying to do as much as we can. We're getting 50 to 100 submissions a day, and it's hard to keep up. But we're doing our best to do that.
How many people are on your team to keep up with that?
Right now, we have 21 artists on the label, and we're going to sign a couple of more very soon. We've signed a lot of artists to single deals at first for the benefit of the artist, because I want the artist to feel comfortable working with us, and of course, we want to make sure that we feel we can help, and that there's a synergy between us. What I like to think of us as is a full service entertainment company. So you're welcome to submit finished music to us, and we absolutely are looking for finished, good quality masters that we can promote within our network. But if a lot of artists that we're working with, they need the production help. So we're getting involved in the production and songwriting as well, to help the artists, write a hit song that we can promote properly to our network. So we'll continue to do that. But it is difficult to keep up, but we've got a good system in place right now.
I'm going to share with you a little bit of Sofonda's official bio, and I'm going to let you fill in the blanks of things that you think are important to know about her. Before I play Thrive, which is a great song and a great music video. A supreme drag queen performing for over 20 years, Sofonda has been touted as the hardest working queen in the business. As an actor, Sofonda has had appearances in film and television shows like Cake, Soldier's Girl, and Queer as Folk. As a resident of Toronto, she has been a host at gay establishments, many of them, and is no stranger to special events. I love that her persona has spread around the world, and that her puppeteer performance as Destiny's Child went viral on Facebook, boasting over 1.5 million views all over the world. Her recent Lemonade tribute video went viral as well, with over 250,000 views, earning Sofonda the title of Canada's viral sensation and catching the attention of Logo TV, New Now Next, and even RuPaul. What else is important to know about Sofonda before I play her tune?
Sure. So Sofonda's Thrive was just picked up, literally, about an hour ago, by a major reality show in the US. I can't tell you who, but it's a major reality show, and Thrive will be one of the main songs in the show. That is a massive step. The hardest thing to do is to get your songs into film and TV. So we're thrilled for Sofonda, and there's a lot of interesting things coming up. We're in the next couple of months. But she's definitely a veteran who continues to climb.
Well, now I know what you meant by a meeting you couldn't miss this morning. So Congratulations on that. And thank you for giving me the right to use this song in my content. I appreciate it. And let's give it a view and a listen.
Spread your wings like a butterfly. Soon you'll see you two can fly. Live your life, never compromise. Love yourself, prioritize. Silver lining all occasions. Stay away from complications. Jealous eyes clock your demise. Wash, rinse, and sanitize. Stand up, time to thrive. Stand up, time to thrive. Stand up, live your life. Not enough just to survive. Stand up, time to thrive. Stand up, time to thrive. Stand up, don't be shy. Not enough just to survive. Never judge a book by its cover. Beauty's in the eyes of the beholder. What she wears does not define her. Look inside and seek desire. Love yourself and take it higher. Level up, ignite the fire. Not enough just to survive. Stand up, time to thrive. Stand up, time to thrive. Stand up, time to thrive. Stand up, live your life. Not enough just to survive. Stand up, time to thrive. Stand up, time to thrive. Stand up, don't be shy. Not enough just to survive. I live, I thrive. Not enough just to survive. I live, I thrive. Not enough just to survive. We live, we thrive. Not enough just to survive. We live, we thrive. Not enough just to survive. Stand up, time to thrive. Stand up, time to thrive. Stand up, live your life. Not enough just to survive. Stand up, time to thrive. Stand up, time to thrive. Stand up, don't be shy. Not enough just to survive. Stand up, stand up. We live, we thrive. Stand up, stand up. Live your life. Not enough just to survive.
Congratulations on a great tune and on landing that on a reality show. Is this a worldwide audience for that reality show, or is it what country? How? What? I know you can't say more than that.
Yeah, it's a U.S. reality show.
A U.S. reality show,
Yeah.
which
But
is
it's
going to have
probably-
its own world on social media, which means it will have a global reach in some ways. That is fantastic. There's so many things about your artist and you and your company we could talk about. What do you think is important that we talk about that we haven't addressed yet?
There's we're trying to there's something coming up fairly soon in the next few months. We're creating a new platform to help the artists that, like I said, we're getting 50 to 100 submissions every day, and we can't release 100 artists every day. There are a ton of artists that need some additional support or need somebody's help to further their music ambitions, and we are building something that will allow those artists to benefit from the knowledge of the So Fierce team. So that's coming fairly soon in a few months. We have some interesting releases coming up. We have Danny Diamond, who's a Canadian electronic music artist, who very much like me he's a workhorse. He works extremely hard and extremely talented, but has never gotten a break. So we're going to help him, with his music ambitions, and hopefully the song that we created, which is called "What Do You Want," comes out April 23rd on Beatport, and then 2 weeks later to the rest of the world. And so we're excited about that track. And we also have Mona Moore Canadian drag recording artist coming out in May, and then a song by Ms. London Chanel, a drag recording artist based in San Diego, is coming out on April 30th. So really excited about what's coming up in the next month or so.
What would you like to say about the importance of drag in the LGBTQ plus civil rights movement and its very deserved increasing visibility on the global stage?
You know, I wish I lived, I was, out and in the community in the 80s, because would have liked to see firsthand the movement that was happening. So I'm only basing this on what I've read and what I've heard from stories from some of my friends, my older friends. Drag artists have, you know, moved things forward for us in a way that we can't even understand. They've never really been given the acknowledgement of that over the years. Of course, now with RuPaul's Drag Race and other shows, their identity is certainly heightened. But in no way have we reached the potential of where drag can go. Drag is all around us, and I would love nothing more than to have drag recording artists who can sing, who have ambitions of being a pop star, to be introduced to the commercial world in the mainstream music industry and be given the same opportunities as the likes of Lady Gaga, Britney Spears, and whatnot, because that's where I believe they deserve to be.
I love that. That's very inspiring and passionate. Adrian Christian, who actually is a singer and songwriter himself, says, congratulations on your reality show placement and much continued success. And Paul Jasek, who is a longtime friend of mine and a regular viewer, says hello, and he is also very creative. I find that light attracts light, and you know that, and I especially think that if you're committed to artistry and authenticity, that the people that you come across are magical people. What would you like to say about that?
That is so on point. Wendy Starlin and I are songwriting soulmates. The minute I met her in New York, within 10 minutes we had written a song. It was so magical. And that's the type of relationship I strive to have with all the artists on the label. I'm involved in a lot of the production and songwriting for the artists, for their tracks. And I enjoy nothing more than to do a Zoom call. Right now, Zoom. Right, in a normal reality, we would be in person and writing together. But we're doing it via Zoom, and it's working. And I just love the collaboration, the camaraderie, the enjoyment of bouncing ideas off of each other, and that's magic. But that comes with good energy and a good attitude and the right intentions.
Feel free to not answer anything I ask you, but if is there one song that you co-wrote or one piece of your art that was the most financially successful for you? Did you have one of those breakout hits that put you in a position to fuel this other stuff that you do, or did you have to rely on just doing one thing after another and get things to trickle in?
10 years ago, I had a song called "Say You Love Me," which I was the artist, and Wendy and I wrote it together, and it was placed on a number of MTV shows, including The Hills. It was also on Jersey Shore season 2, episode 1, and it was financially, rewarding for us. But that was a long time ago, and over the years, it's been a struggle to try and make music, to make money on music. However, I think when it all comes down to how you make money in the music industry, it really is a piece by piece game. You've got, you can make some money in film and TV, a little bit of money in streaming, not a lot. Shows and touring, which are all gone now, for the time being. So it is difficult to navigate and figure out a way to make money in the music industry. I have invested my own money in the label. We don't have investors, and I'll continue to do that until I don't have to.
I'm cueing my viewers to ask their smart speaker to play my song. That's the promo homo in me. And if I have a music producer on the show, I would be remiss not to do that. Was there a particular time in your life, a circumstance, an experience that taught you this is all there is and compelled you to commit to pursuing your dreams no matter what?
Somebody had said something. I'm trying to think back. And it was an interview that Ricky Martin had. That's what it was. And he'd said, when people want, if they're an artist or an actor or something related to their artistry, when they think that they can quit doing what they're doing, actually you can't quit. Because it is who you are. It's your duty to keep pushing forward. That's why I mean, there's been multiple times when I said, you know what, I don't know if this is going to work out for me. And obviously I had the ear of a very negative brother who used to tell me that I should focus on a full-time job and try and do something else. And I never listened to that. I said, you know what, none of that is relevant because I am here for the purpose of art, whether it's my own art, and now it's for my artists. And my purpose now is to uplift and elevate the artists on So Fierce Music. And I will continue to do that regardless of financial status, financial situation, anything. That's my duty. I would sell my my condo and live in a small apartment if I had to keep things moving forward. There's nothing that's going to stop me from keeping this label moving forward.
That's beautiful. My personal mission statement is to honor and express my creativity in a way that makes a difference. And that has been clear for decades, and I don't stop.
Yeah. It's our duty. It's what we're here for. And and I'm so thankful for people like you that continue to do this.
Well, and we're all in this life together, and I would like to sort of bring our conversation to a close. We have plenty of time, but I think we've talked about everything that's most important. I was wondering what you would like to say to the young person out there that's struggling to find themselves, love themselves, accept and express themselves. They may be trapped in families or religions or communities that oppress them and teach them self-contempt. What would you say to provide hope for that person?
You are loved. You are perfect the way you are. That you should do yourself the way you want to do yourself. So you do you. And never give up. And there are people there are people out there who feel like there's nowhere that they can go to talk to somebody. You're not alone. We are all in this together, and I believe in you.
That's gorgeous. I'm going to put your contact information up there. While I ask you one more question, what you're helping with so many other artists. What are you doing for yourself creatively in terms of your own music?
Interesting. And I was joking. My friend Tom had said something about you should do a song like this. I go, I'm retired, and then in brackets I said, while I'm working on a new album. I'm not actually working on a new album, but I am working on some. I have to keep my own creative juices as a singer, going. And I will release a few things here and there, even though my focus is on all the other artists, and I'm happy to do that. I am working on a song to release myself in the summer.
Well, congratulations, Velvet. It's been wonderful to talk to you. Please come on my show again. I'm willing to have all of your artists on
Awesome.
over time, and would love to support what you're doing.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me, and it was great to meet you.
You too. Stay put. I want to speak with you briefly in just a minute.
Okay.
And I just can't get enough of your